Relentless podcast continuing here. 5 games into the season. Jacksonville 3-2 to start, coming off of a absolutely mammoth win at home on Education Day on Tuesday. Joined by head coach Darnell Haney. And coach, we last time we sat here and talked, we were looking at a lot of new pieces, some new thoughts surrounding this team. You've now had a chance to see them in action for a handful of games. How would you assess how your team has handled the start of the season?
I think they've gradually came along and came together as a group. I think they've just understood what we were trying to do, and it took us some losses to get that accomplished. But I think now they're grasping what we're trying to do in the grand scheme of things. So I think that's important. I think that's a good thing to look at.
Defensively, you kind of stake yourself on that. You went out and said you recruited a bunch of long, athletic players this year. We may have seen what that can look like on its absolute best day on Tuesday. 35 turnovers forced from USC Upstate. I mean, an absolutely incredible number. Where have you seen this defense grow the most in the early part of the season?
I think just in their rotations and their communication. I think they've done a good job of just getting to spots and getting there in a hurry. I think that's one of the biggest things that we talk about every day, making sure you're in the right position at the right time, at the right and in the right place. And I think that's part of just being disciplined about doing that. Not gambling as much and making sure that we're just staying in front of people and defending.
When the offense has looked good in your eyes, what has that looked like?
People moving, people cutting hard, people making decisions and being decisive on making that decision, and them playing freely. I think when we get out and we play and we use our athleticism and we use our talent, I just think it helps us out tremendously in all ways, on the defensive end and on the offensive end. I think there's going to be some teams that try to pack it in on us. And when we have people that's shooting the ball well, like in some cases during this year, that has looked good for us. And then I've seen some cases where they've tried to spread out and kind of make us put the ball on the floor a little bit, and then we were able to spread some people out and attack them that way. So just moving, understanding where each other is, and just playing more so in harmony on both ends of the floor is what we've been flourishing.
You have a roster last year was kind of thin with some of the new pieces coming in. You had injuries last year. This year's team feels really deep at this point in the season. When it comes to rotations, are you using the non-conference to just kind of figure out who works well in which situation right now?
Absolutely. We talk about mix. I was talking to our group the other day about a mix and who plays well together and who feeds off each other. And we have a good number of people that can produce for us. And on any given night, we may have, like, Mariah Bates had an awesome game last game, and Alexis Pierce played well. And, Jada Perry and Destiny Marshall just made newcomer of the week. So just, Shalonda Neely played well. So, like, we just have a couple of a lot of good pieces that, when gelled together, can be really, really, really good.
As far as those newcomers, yes, you mentioned Jada Perry, Destiny Marshall, maybe the most forefront due to their successes here in the early season and some recognition. But how do you feel that most of these pieces, these newcomers, have fit into the style that you're trying to run?
We recruited them because they can play that style, right? I think they're fitting in. They just got to figure out I think they just got to mature as people a little bit. Like Perry and Marshall are junior college transfers, so they're a little older than some of the freshmen that are coming in that's trying to figure out the college game. They played Marshall and Perry played junior college basketball, which is different than Division I basketball, but at the same time, they've had experiences in their life. They've had experiences on the floor, and it's helped them kind of transition to this a little bit faster than maybe a freshman may.
For your seniors, you've got a handful of them, and they're all playing a lot for you. Do you feel like they've really stepped into this leadership role early on in this season?
I think they have. At times, I've had to get on them about not doing that. Mm-hmm. But just like we would have to get on them about anything else. We have to continue to push the envelope as a coaching staff on making sure that the seniors and the leaders, and sometimes the leader may not be a senior, and you may lead in a different way. So, like we have a leader that leads us academically. You know, she takes care of business in academics. She makes sure that everybody is on board academically. We have a leader on the floor defensively. We have a leader on the floor offensively. We have a special teams leader.
Yeah.
So we just have a couple of different, just giving a lot of them different little jobs so that they can be good at that job and help us as a whole when we get into play.
Now, looking up at the schedule, obviously a big road trip coming up this weekend. You head west and face Colorado, the Buffaloes, in Boulder as a kind of a one-off game on that road trip before coming back home and getting ready for the Thanksgiving tournament that'll be hosted here at Swisher Gym. As far as where you think your team can compete better against these high majors now versus maybe even just a week or so ago when you were opening the season against the likes of South Florida and Florida State?
I think when you play against those high major programs, you have to be in sync as a mid-major program. And I don't think we were in sync game one, of course. Nobody is, right? And then game two against Florida State, we were in sync in the first half, and then we just kind of spurted. We couldn't keep up with our mental focus going in that second half. And sometimes, Florida State is really good, and Sue does a great job, and South Florida is really good.
Yeah.
They do a great job down there. Jose does a great job, and what happens is if you're not in sync and if you're not focused against a high major team, what happens is you start to succumb to their talent, their size, their athleticism. It's not where you can overpower them. I feel like we're pretty athletic as a team, but we're not at the level of a Florida State athleticism,
Right.
or a Florida or South Florida. South Florida rebounded the mess out of the ball against us, and we rebound the ball. That's what we do, but they were at another level, and they made us play basketball a little bit defensively, and we lost our focus. I think that's got to be key. We have to make sure we maintain our focus throughout the 40 minutes of the game.
Your first shot at a true like-minded opponent ends in a big-time win on Tuesday over USC upstate, and then the JU Thanksgiving Classic next Friday and Saturday. Nicholls State and Norfolk State coming in. Another chance to get a look at some teams that are in a similar field, if you will. When you're playing in a tournament like this, and then plus hosting a tournament like this, what is really the kind of the messaging heading into it to your team?
Just like I talked about, just making sure we're in sync and we're focused for 40 minutes of a game. And right now we're focused on Colorado. I think we have to go in and we have to focus on rebounding the basketball at a high level because they really go to the glass. And we got to make sure we're keeping them off the glass, and we got to make sure we're using our strengths against them like they're going to try to use their strengths against us. So I just think just going into this game against Colorado, focused on, making sure we're good at scouting report, we're good at boxing out and rebounding and making sure we're grabbing the basketball and making them work. I just think making them work on both ends of the floor is going to give us a great chance at winning the basketball game, as it will in any basketball game. Just making the defense work and making the offense work. I think that's just putting pressure on them. I think it's going to help us out tremendously.
Well, we still haven't come up with an official name for this. Maybe we'll get in trouble for calling it. I'm going to call it right now, Darnell's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. How about that?
I don't like that one. I don't like that one. Let's see.
Trying to go for a little alliteration.
Let's see what we got. Let's go.
See, these things are harder to come up with on the spot than you think they are.
Feasting with D. Haney, I guess.
Okay,
now, maybe feasting. We got to come up with one next week. Maybe that's not it.
We'll open it up for crowdsourcing.
Right,
maybe
right,
somebody
right.
can give us a good name. But what have you had? You've been a couple different places here as of late.
Right. We in Tampa. We were in Tampa. We went to a place, it's just a sports bar called Glory Days. Pretty nice. Pretty good spot. People down at Glory Days did a solid job. What else? What else have we eaten? You can't go wrong at the Ale House, right? Can't go wrong.
I've argued that for years. There's something to the consistency of you. When you show up, you know exactly where you're going to get and what it's going to be like.
Exactly.
And there's no margin for fluctuation there, and you appreciate that.
Right. I used to have a problem at the Cheesecake Factory. Like, I don't need 100 dishes. All I need is maybe 5, maybe 3. Give me 3 choices and I'm good.
Give me the good stuff.
Just give me what's good. So I know what I'm going to eat at Cheesecake Factory now. So I go and I'm going to Cheesecake Factory. I'm going to get the pepper, shrimp, whatever that is, and I'm going to get that. That's what I know I'm getting. But if I go and I look in that menu, I might walk out of there, man. It's crazy. I go crazy.
Yeah, I won't name any of the other restaurants that make me think along those lines too. But it's just I don't need a 25-page menu. Like it's not the next great American novel. I'm just trying to select something that I can eat for dinner,
so I can get out of here.
Exactly. Well, hopefully you guys out in Colorado this week get a chance to experience some of the good cuisine out that way.
We got it. I got a couple great suggestions. I think I got them written down and they're in my phone, but. I got a couple great suggestions. We had a former employee here at JU that lives out in Denver now, and she's been to Boulder, and she's like, you have to eat at this place. So the place is in my phone. I'm going to make sure that I go to the place and eat there, and we get over there, and we want to make sure that we're just going over there for business as well. So we're going to eat good.
Yeah,
but
that's a huge part of the business, right?
Right, exactly. But we got to make sure that they eat good, but we're going to make sure we're going over there for business as well.
Colorado on Sunday. That's an 8 p.m. Eastern start. It airs on the Pac-12 Network, so you can watch the Dolphins if you're able to get that, or head on out to that Miller's Ale House and request it, because I'm sure they've got it there as well. Well, we'll check in next time. Hopefully, have a name for our
let's come up with a name. Yeah. This is what I need. I need everybody that's listening to the podcast. I need you guys to tweet. Go at Coach D. Haney or at is it Scott Manzi?
Yeah, I keep it real simple.
At Scott Manzi or at Jax_women's basketball, and let's come up with a name for D. Haney's
food segment,
foods or whatever. It's a food segment. Let's do that. I think that's gonna be fun.
You heard the man. It's an all points bulletin. He's asking for your help, so we'll revisit this on the next episode of the Relentless podcast.
Absolutely. And if you are in town in Duval this weekend coming, not this weekend coming, but next weekend, we would love to have you out at our games. There's a tournament between us, a classic between us, Nicholls State, University of North Florida, and Norfolk State. So we would be excited to have you. Have a great Thanksgiving. Eat good, turkey, whatever the case may be, and then come on out to the game on Black Friday, 12-2, and then we have another game on Saturday, 12-2 as well.
Yeah, Dolphins playing at 2 o'clock on both of those days, Friday and Saturday, right after Thanksgiving. So you'll be tired of your family by then, and you'll want to get out and do something. If you're not a shopper, then you've got an opportunity to catch some sports right here at Swisher Gym on campus, part of the JU Thanksgiving Classic next Friday and Saturday. Coach, well, have fun on the trip this weekend.
Thanks, boss.
Go bring back a W, enjoy the food, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks so much, Scott.
All right, this has been another episode of the Relentless Podcast. For head coach Darnell Haney, I'm Scott Mann.